Okay, I'm going to call to order the regular afternoon council meeting of Langley Township of May 7th. First up, adoption and receipt of the agenda items. Can I get a motion? Moved by Councillor Arneson, second by Councillor Fox. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. Carries. Moving on to the adoption of the minutes of the regular afternoon council meeting of April 23rd. Can I get a motion? Councillor Fox, seconded by Councillor Whitmarsh. Any errors and omission? No? All right. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. All right. And I will move to motion to resolve into the special closed meeting. Can I get a motion? Moved by Councillor Whitmarsh, second by Councillor Qualley. Any additions? There's no on-table items. Nope. All right. All those in favor? All right. Opposed? Okay. We're moving into special closed. Thank you. I did it this way. Okay. All right, we're going to reconvene the regular afternoon council meeting. First up is E1. Oh, Mr. Backen. No,
and
sorry.
As mentioned previously, we've had a slight change in the agenda. In that, items E2 and F2, if we could simply have a motion to refer them to a future meeting, there's more communications the council should be in possession of prior to advancing.
Okay, so I'll take that motion. Councillor Fox, second by Councillor. We're losing councillor members. Do we have Whitmarsh? Okay. All those in favor? Opposed with Councillor Davis, Councillor Richter, Councillor Arneson absent.
I'm here. Sorry.
Well, Councillor Davis, were you in favor?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, with Councillor Richter and Councillor Arneson absent, and Mayor Froese. Okay, so now we're going to delegations, and we are going to E1, Margaret Kent. I'm going to come down and introduce yourself, and I'll start the timer when you're ready. You have 5 minutes, and I'll turn your mic on for you there. Hold on, I can't turn her mic on. Can you? Well, we're just having some technical difficulties here.
The mic, yeah.
Oh, I know what button to push. It's just not working. No, we'll just wait a sec so that the mic picks you up, and we'll hopefully. Oh, thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon to Mayor Froese, and I met with Patrina Arneson and all the councillors. Good afternoon. And my name is Margaret Kent, and I live directly opposite to the Willowbrook Shopping Centre. And of course, as we know, there is a problem concerning the pending new construction of an outdoor, shopping centre at Willowbrook Shopping Centre. And there's supposed to be 1,000 vehicles going underground with for parking and boutique shops. So it's going to be a lot of construction noise. So my main concern is the noise pollution levels, which could be quite very high because of the north end of the mall there. There are people living like us in those apartments, and the restaurant there, Denny's, and then there's condominium buildings behind on 197, 198. And so you'd be surrounded potentially by drilling noise, jackhammer noise, and large trucks coming and going, potentially daily, of course, initially, and the dust and the noise pollution. And my husband inquired at the administration office, and they said it can be for 2 to 3 years of the construction. So that's a substantial amount of time when it's encroaching on a residential area. And what I would like to, and it's a very noisy area anyway in that area, and this would just compound everything. And so I know that the noise bylaws are normally from 7 till 7 or 7 till 8 p.m. at night. And so I'd like to advocate that there be no nighttime drilling or no nighttime work going on for the safe enjoyment of people living across from that north end of the Willowbrook Shopping Centre. And so I'd like to advocate for the use of noise barriers, acoustical barriers, which would ameliorate the noise levels as well as dust pollution, noise and dust pollution levels. And these barriers, I looked online, can be installed temporarily, strictly for construction sites to reduce noise levels. And I've got some information I printed online on computer, and I'll leave that with the legislative clerk. But I think that would be really an excellent idea, because you read complaints of people who live in, Langley, where the construction has gone on, 3-4 years, and the noise levels have been just horrendous, and nobody wants to be subjected to all that noise, because hearing loss will occur, and hearing damage either permanently or temporarily when there is so many decibel high levels of noise that the mind and the ears are subject to for 2 to 3 years. That's a long time to be subject to those levels of noise pollution. So what I'm advocating is for these barriers to be suggested to the building construction people and to the administration of the Willowbrook Shopping Centre, so that these can be erected, and at least that would be mitigating some of the noise pollution and dust pollution for the safe enjoyment of people who are living on that north end, that mall. It's not just business around there, there's residential too. So that's my main issues with that, so.
Great. Okay, thank you. We do have a question from Councillor Arneson, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Hi, thank you very much for coming today.
Hi.
I was interested actually in your comments, because you did have a couple of suggestions with respect to the ongoing work there. So as you know, the township has approved that work going forward. However, you're pointing out that potentially it would be helpful to the local residents if that were to be somewhat limited in order to preserve some of the quiet enjoyment of your residences, and also the idea that there is such a thing as potentially a removable noise barrier or wall. Have you ever seen those anywhere? Are you very familiar with them?
I've seen, in offices they have those simple, noise barriers which have fabric on either side, the freestanding. So if you use in a word processor like in the old days, or any kind of machinery, it does mitigate the noise from one desk to the next. And some of the highways or freeways I've seen around BC, they do have those nice kind of composite walls. There's a nice one in Murrayville, good example, and on Highway 1 I believe they have them where the houses are to prevent the noise, excessive noise from the highway. And in Murrayville they've got them at a townhouse complex. It's like, I think, a composite plastic, quite thick, and maybe 8 feet high or something. I'm not sure how high. But this is the latest acoustic noise barrier technology that I printed online.
Yeah.
And they are temporary, for specific to, there's probably lots of them out there nowadays. So, but this is specific to, and there's reflective strips for site safety, in different colours and things like that, and range of tailored options. So excellent noise attenuation, ease of assembly, powerfully balances acoustics. So I think that's very, very necessary when there's people living in that, that particular side of the shopping centre. And I think it's needed because it's already extremely noisy in that area anyway, with vehicles having free access to all of the mall areas. And trucks coming from the highway through there, which I don't think should be permitted. It's not safe for shoppers for having trucks coming in front of a shopping centre. So I think that should be looked into. And I think they should put more, in the interim, they should put more of these large speed bumps, raised speed bumps in parking lot D, as in David, because these men race in there brazen as anything. 5 p.m. at night, they don't care. 6 p.m. at night, they'll be racing through there like nothing. And it's absolutely wicked. I mean, I've never encountered anything like that. And so if they put in the interim before they begin the construction, I think they should put in these big, wide, speed bumps in parking lot D, so that to stop them, because there's nothing to stop them. It's like a wide prairie. They can just race through there at will, because that parking lot D is not used hardly.
I have a feeling that once they reconfigure that area, that there will be less opportunity for that to happen, just because there'll be more buildings.
But they did put 2 speed bumps. There wasn't any speed bumps at the ramp, the wheelchair ramp, coming off Fraser Highway there from the bus stop, and by the White Spot restaurant. And they did put 2 in there because they were racing, because there's 2 perimeter roads around that shopping centre. Again, I find that ridiculous, but however, it's very unsafe having so much traffic access around a shopping centre. It's unsafe. It just doesn't match. So they did put 2 speed bumps there, the regular size, let's say, and that helps. But they should put a sidewalk there to the right of that wheelchair ramp. There shouldn't be a road. You don't need a road there. But apart from that, in the interim, if this mall isn't going to be redeveloped till this September, that's still June, July, August, 3-4 months off. For more racing to happen and more danger to happen in parking lot D as in David. And I think they really, in the interim, can just fill in with these speed bumps. They're very simplistic to put in. They've put 2 in by the wheelchair ramp, and it's safety of, pedestrians walk into their vehicle, just pedestrians who cut through there to cut off that corner of that drive, which drives me mad. I wish I was a town planner. I would never have planned it like that. But I'm just saying that the speed bumps would really help with that danger in the interim of the next potential 3 to 4 months.
Great.
The barrier.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we have a couple other questions for you as well. So, Councillor Whitmarsh.
I just wanted to confirm. Thanks for coming today. I just wanted to confirm that that you're asking us to just enforce the construction hours, the bylaw that we have related to construction. You're not asking for us to change that. You're just asking us to enforce what we currently have.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, if a bylaw is there, it's either there to be observed or why have it. And so if the administration of that shopping centre allows workmen to demolish, for example, the old Toys R Us building at midnight, there's no point in having a noise bylaw, in my view. And so therefore, I'm just saying that they should, any construction site should be observing the bylaws, or the bylaws are just hot air. Right. They're valueless. And so, for example, some of the workmen have been working in that former Toys R Us to clear out debris and things like that. And a couple of weekends it went on a Sunday night, starting around 10 p.m. till 2, 3 in the morning. And that noise carries. I think noise goes every direction, if there's nothing to stop it.
Okay,
and
that's helpful.
Very noisy. And my husband went out, and there they were out with, and I went out once, and there they were getting rid of debris and knocking around inside and outside, and for several hours. So why is an administration in a shopping centre allowed to violate a bylaw when it strictly says 7 till 7 or 7 till 8, Monday through Friday, and weekends either none on Sunday or minimally, and Saturdays, I think I've got it written on here, until 9 till 5. It's minimal on the weekends or none on Sunday.
Right.
So I'm just wondering...
That's helpful. Thank you so much. That answers the question. Thank you.
We do have one more question. Councillor Davis.
Hi, thanks for coming. We're talking about speeding cars, but you basically, what you're concerned about is the north end of the parking lot. Your housing complex is behind like the TD Bank there, that being north?
Yeah, we're in the Northland Apartments at the moment.
Yes.
And it's extremely exposed there.
Yeah.
So
it's north. It's north.
Well, that's where this new construction is going to be, the north end, yeah? We've had notices from yourselves. So
well, it's behind
directly
yeah,
fit, right by the Denny's.
Yeah,
restaurant.
I just wanted
in that fun area.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that it's north. Okay, thank
Great.
you.
Okay, that's it. Thank you so much
Okay.
for coming.
Thank you, yeah.
All right, next up we have John Moonen, delegation, if you want to come forward.
Thank you.
You just want to introduce yourself, and I'll start the timer once you get yourself all set up there.
Okay. Good afternoon, members of council. I am Bob Bordelin. I'm Vice President of Business Development for Sand Industries, Sand Group, and Axon Lumber. And with me I have John Moonen, who's our agent working on this proposal that we have forward, we're putting forward to this, the city. First, what I'd like to do is just to correct a couple of typos that were made, if John's got that.
Just in the staff report, I know that's coming up later, but there was reference to the pallet factory being our operation. It's a separate operation between our two properties. And the other thing is that the pallet factory was identified in the report as not being in the, or as being in the ALR. It's not in the ALR. The piece next to us. There was also a reference to the fire of the former boat building operation being in 1990. It was just in 1992. So just a couple of corrections.
Okay, what I'll do is I'll give you a brief rundown really on what Axon Lumber is. It's a division of the Sand Group, and the Sand Group is a manufacturing facility. We have a sawmill on Vancouver Island. The owners are very actively involved in the manufacturing of value-added products, and that's what we specialized, and we're shipping those products basically around the world for the last 35 years. At the moment, at our current site, we're employing 53 people, and that does vary depending on the seasonality. Axon Lumber is a company that started in 2004, and the Sand Group purchased it in 2014. It's important to note that the Sand Group is 100% Canadian owned and employing Canadian people here in the Lower Mainland. When the property was purchased in 2016 by Sand, it was for expansion. We were planning on adding things. We're doing value-added products. And the value-added products, again, as I was saying, they're being shipped around the world. What we'd like to do is the northern third of the site that was in question, and that's about 14 acres, we'd like to have that as at industrial zoning. The total property is approximately 44 acres. The front two-thirds would remain in the ALR, and we're looking at having somebody come in to do that and farm it. At the moment, it's just being used for hay production, and it's not really doing anything with that. And that just kind of gives you a bit of a visual. That little center strip is an easement for the railway, and the top section is a portion that we would like to have rezoned. And the bottom two-thirds, we're going to be leaving that as is. As John had mentioned, this facility was a boat building facility, Linwood Boats, and unfortunately they had a fire in 1992. They had been on that site since 1966, and since that fire, the property has not been utilized. The southern two-thirds in hay production, again, it's somebody just mowing the lawn for us, and they're taking the hay away, or there's no revenue on that. The CNR line does cross through. There's an industrial site that is just to the west of us, and that particular piece of property, it's a pallet manufacturer, and they are not in the ALR. We've got the river to the north, ALR to the east, and 88th Avenue is in the front section. The property itself, these are just a few of the pictures that are showing what's on the property right now. There are some paved areas, there's gravel, there's timbers, there's concrete. We've got cars that are buried there. So there's quite an assortment of things that are causing problems at the moment.
Do you want to hit the specific uses?
Sure. So, okay, the specific uses, what we're doing is, what we'd look at if it was rezoned, we'd be looking at doing flood prevention and improved drainage, because the site right now is subject to flooding, and it can happen. Our plan, if it goes through, would be to store materials for our other manufacturing facility, and also depending on how time and the economics go, is to put up another building and have manufacturing done on that site. And it would be to do finished products. We would also be doing, having to pave the yard, because a yard with lumber products, because of the quality of product that we're bringing in, it would have to be paved, so we don't want mud and dirt and gravel on the lumber itself. Along with that, you'd have washrooms, office facilities for the employees that are there. There is an existing home that is on that, which is, it's derelict. Right now it's being run down. It is still got good bones on it, and we're looking at taking that and converting that into an on-site spot for a security. The driveway that is currently going there is, let's just say it's not the smoothest one. We'd have to repave that, or we'd have to, make sure that that is taken care of. There are things that are on the site right now that we would have to take off. There's a mobile home. There's the buried cars, chunks of concrete that are on the site. Okay, at the moment, what we have is there's really no farms that are right beside us that we would, or residents that we would be interfering with. We would have lights that are on the site, and for security reasons, we would have those at night. That we would also have those lights on, but they're on the opposite side of the railway tracks. There'd be quite a distance between that and any residents at all. Noise, dust, you're always going to have some of that noise, but we don't run 24 hours a day. We would just be running a normal shift, possibly 2 shifts. Truck traffic is one that it's a concern that we all have as to how it's going to affect the area. There is product that is coming in from our operation on Vancouver Island, and we're even looking at having it come up via barge across and coming directly to our site. But before that happens, what we're also doing is if this particular piece of property is approved, we'd actually be cutting down the amount of traffic, or we'd be reducing it, because at the moment we're taking some of our lumber, it comes into our facility, then it gets shipped to somebody else in the Lower Mainland for more processing because we don't have the capacity, and then coming back to our facility to be loaded into containers and then shipped out. Okay, economic impacts. Right here, we're looking at adding 14 acres of industrial land. Taxes, everybody's interested in those, but going from $2,000 to $125,000 per year. The addition of 40 to 50 new employees, and that would be ramped up over a period of time. And our goal is to employ people from the Langley area, and I think with the cost of gas these days, you probably would have more people from this area coming in than from other outlying municipalities. The other 22 acres that would be left, those we would look at having them farmed. We are not going to be doing the farming ourselves, but we're looking at a young family possibly that could take that along with another piece of property and farm it for commercial purposes.
And just quickly, in terms of securing the approval of both the Township of Langley and the Agricultural Land Commission for this exclusion is we feel that it is not a piece of property that is suitable for agriculture any longer. It's a former boat building facility, as Bob mentioned. It hasn't been farmed since before 1966. There's been considerable debilitation over the years. It requires about $2 million to rehabilitate for farming, which would be very hard to recoup from a farming operation. We're surrounded by, on 3 sides, by a non-ALR piece by the Fraser River and by the railway. There is, however, ALR to the east. It regularly floods. So, for example, we've already lost, over the years, 5 acres of the 44 acres have been lost to the Fraser. There would be no interference with nearby homes. There just aren't very many of them. And the only impact would be at lights at night.
Sorry to interrupt, but you are past your 5 minutes. So if you just want to wrap it up. Okay, perfect. So I just do have a question from Councillor Whitmarsh as well.
Hello, I'm right here. Thanks very much for coming. Just a couple of questions for clarification. On your slides, you talked about the 22 acres on the south side I don't know if it's south.
Yep.
South side. That this would enhance the 22 acres for agriculture. Can you just comment on what you mean by this would enhance the agricultural use of that 22 acres?
Well, at the moment, it's not being used. As I said, we're just looking at it that it's in hay production. We would encourage a young family that would take that on and do, I can't say what they would be growing on there myself because I'm not a farmer, but what they were looking at doing is having it being made available so that somebody can take that property and develop it. They may take that parcel of land along with something else and put together a family business.
Okay, so what you're saying is that if this wasn't to go through, then you wouldn't have the ability to either sell or use that 22 acres in a different way.
Can't use it for anything. No, that's right. That's
Okay.
correct.
And do you know what have you looked at all on the cost of what it might be to return the 14 acres to an agricultural use? Have you looked into that?
Yes, we have. And what you're doing is you're looking at approximately $2 million, just shy of $2 million to bring that up to a standard where you could be, putting it back into the agricultural position. There's, with everything that would have to be done, being dikes, or you have dikes that have to be built. It's just there for protection to make sure the river wasn't coming in and flooding. There's $200,000 for that, just shy of $200,000 for that, plus $2 million for getting the soil back in place because there's no topsoil left on that facility, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you.
All right, question from Councillor Davis.
Thank you very much. How long have you owned it? You said 5 years?
That was 2016.
Oh, okay.
2014, sorry.
Okay. Your access to and from, I know you had brought it to the ACC and you'd talked about a bridge or something at one point. So your access right now, what would your access be?
The access right now would be off of 88th.
Okay.
The discussion about a bridge is there's a lot of ideas that are coming forward as to what we could do. There is that possibility because we do have a handshake or a gentleman's agreement with the people in the pallet facility that we would be able to use their land to go through it and use that as an access to our other piece of property. If that is done, you would have to build a bridge that would have to go over that creek. To build a bridge, you're looking at $250,000 approximately. But the more important thing is you've got to look at the environmental issues that go along with that because you cannot just have a bridge crossing over and hoping that it's going to be suitable. We've done things with bridges that we've put in for when we're doing our logging operations. There are definite standards that have to be achieved and maintained to ensure that nothing happens to the environment.
So when you say right now it's generating no revenue, are you paying farm taxes on it, or is somebody renting it right now as a bona fide farmer?
There's nobody renting it right now.
Yeah.
We had it where somebody came in, we allowed them to go in and take the hay off of there, but there was no revenue that came to us.
Okay, so on your application, you put that you'd retain that as agriculture, ALR. Like right now, it is ALR. Mm-hmm. So
yes,
there's no retaining.
You're correct. 100% correct.
So the railroad, if you look at all the lands on the other side of the railroad there's not a lot of farming done because of the flooding that the river does every year. So that railroad is a very good natural section there. You talked about a lot of money to bring this up to farm it, and you said there's 13 acres on the riverside.
Correct.
Out of the 13 acres, how much is actually concrete and old boat facility?
I'd say you take a look at the majority of I don't have it broken down as to what percentage, but the majority of that particular site, there's no topsoil on it. It's blacktopped or it's concrete on there.
Yeah.
So but a percentage-wise, John, would you know?
We had an environmental assessment done by TRI Environmental, and they came up with a figure of 25% could be farmed, 75% needs to be rehabilitated.
So 75% is the old plant, and then 75% is the creek that runs through it.
No, the creek separates roughly a third from 2/3 east to west. But what is there now, about 25% of it could be farmed. 3/4 could not.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Councillor Arneson.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for coming. I did have a question. It's sort of, I guess, tangential to your application, but if you could clarify, I believe you were talking about the loss of 5 acres. Is that from erosion and undercutting of the bank? Was I mistaken in that?
So the original property was 44 acres, Councillor, and 5 have been lost to the Fraser. There, we actually own part of the Fraser. So 14
Liquid
acres,
assets. Is that
14 acres are the subject of this application, and there's about 5 acres in the CN Railroad right-of-way, and there's about 22 acres in what will stay in the ALR and be farmed.
And so I'm assuming that I guess it would be prudent to take some measures to make sure that you weren't losing too much more acreage under the circumstances.
Yes, and part of the plan would be to invest, part of the $2 million to bring it back to agriculture includes some diking and barriers. We would have to do that for an industrial facility too. And of course, we could also, preload that site and raise it up, which is an option too.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Councillor Qualley.
Thank you. Thanks for your presentation today. Just following through to the end of this, if the ALC were to approve this separation of the property, we've recently received information from the young agrarians in our municipality who are looking for land access. So perhaps there's an opportunity to connect you to them. So Councillor Davis, maybe you could, I know he's been working with them, so maybe there's an opportunity for some good social benefit if this
That would be a good idea.
Proceed. So thank you.
Yeah.
Great. All right. That's it. Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it. All right. So now we move on to reports to council, F1. Can I get a motion? And just remind council that it is the motion in the report is that council not authorize referral. So can I get a motion from council? Moved by Councillor Davis, second by Councillor Arneson. And discussion? Seeing none. Okay, I will call the vote. Okay, hold on now. Call vote. I'm going to label this F1. Oh, there we go. All right. And that motion carries unanimously. All right. And now I move on. So F2 is no longer. So move on to item F3. Can I get a motion, and would council specify which motion they're moving, please? A or B? Which one did you move?
That's F2. That's F2, right?
No, F2 was removed. F2 was referred to a future meeting. Were you all? Oh, you were, I think, not here. F2 was referred along with the delegation to a future meeting for more information to be provided to council. So we are now on F3. And so Councillor Long moves option B as our seconder. Okay, hold on. Let's let Councillor Long. I'm
sorry, my apologies. It's A.
Councillor.
We're on F3.
Are you moving A or B?
Would you like, Councillor Whitmarsh, do you know which motion you'd like to move?
A. Yeah.
Okay, Councillor Whitmarsh is moving is option A, and Councillor Qualley is seconding. Do we have any discussion? All right, we do. Councillor Richter.
Yes, through you to Mr. Backen, please. I think that it's very clear that the strip of land that's on the water is very badly contaminated with materials, buried cars, and so on. Makes sense that it should continue in an industrial use. However, it is waterfront, and so I'm wondering, Mr. Backen, if the ALR approves this, will council have to rezone, and if we do rezone, can there be an opportunity to put a community amenity in, like a pathway along the waterfront for future use for future access by the public?
Yes, Your Worship. The property would require rezoning, so at that part of the rezoning process, there would be some discussion with the proponents as to what would be an appropriate, concession or benefit to the community, and that could be addressed at that time.
So it will come back for rezoning if it's approved then?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Do we switch right now? that the mayor?
If there was to be a switch, it's probably after this motion's been disposed of.
Okay. So are you all right with that? Okay. Okay. So Councillor Davis.
Yes, I just want to comment about the, if there's a lot of concrete, I don't know if you can use concrete for shoring or put it, back in my day, you could throw anything in the river if it was to a road or scrap cars. I know there's lots of them along there, but it's with the rail, I don't vote very often to exclude agriculture out. But in this case, there's no buffer. There's a good buffer, the railroad, sorry. And if the railroad wasn't there, it suits that to be brought out because there's 2 or 3 commercial places right there. And so I'm going to support it and to have that excluded because I think that it can be used, and maybe someday, it does have waterfront there, and I don't know if that can help trade out or not. But so I don't support very many exclusions, but this one I will because I think it's a natural. With the railroad there, I think it's a natural thing, and I'm hearing you say you employ over 50 people seasonal in the township, or you said in the Lower Mainland, but so I think that it could be a good thing for the township to have you continue your business there and not flip it next year. I'm being cheeky. Okay. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Councillor Arneson.
Yes, thank you. I'm wondering if we can add an amendment to that going forward to the Agricultural Land Commission, assuming that's what the vote is. I just wanted to include the motion that was undertaken by our Economic and Agricultural Advisory Committee, because I think it would be quite helpful to create a context for it going forward, and it had a number of really good points, including an agricultural impact assessment and a traffic impact assessment as conditions. And so I think that the Agricultural Land Commission would be aided by having that additional assessment by our advisory committee.
Okay, so sorry, is your motion to include with the referral the comments from the committee? Is that something that we can do? Okay, so there's a motion from Councillor Arneson that the Agricultural Economic Advisory Committee comments would be forwarded along with that to the Agricultural Land Commission. Seconded by Councillor Davis. Any discussion on that? Okay, I'm going to call a vote on that. So that would be F3, right? Do I label it that way? Yes. F3. Yes, sorry. Are you okay? I marked you here. Are you all right? Yeah, you're good? Okay, thank you. Vote completed. Okay, so that carries unanimously. All right, so now we're back on the main motion as amended. Any other questions? I will say to the mayor, we are on F3. Item A is what the motion that was put forward. All right, any other comments? Okay, no, seeing none, so I will call the vote as amended. F3, complete. And that carries unanimously. All right, so we are going to switch seats now. Quick interlude, okay.
Thank you very much, Councillor Sparrow, for filling in for me this afternoon. I certainly do appreciate it. So we'll move on to F4, and this is Agricultural Land Commission application number 100333, Aaron Holtz. And could I have a motion, please? Councillor Whitmarsh, second by Councillor Fox. Discussion on F4. Seeing none, I'll call the question. And that carries with Councillor Richter, Councillor Arneson, and Councillor Davis opposed.
Wait a minute.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
What's on the screen here?
Oh, no, that's not what we...
We didn't vote on that.
F4 we just voted on.
Okay, sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay, you're okay with your vote?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Okay, so we have correspondence. There's 1, 2, 3 pieces of correspondence. Councillor Fox, seconder. Councillor Arneson, discussion on receipt. Seeing none, call the question. Call it all G1. G1. Carries unanimously. Is there any action? No voter action, so they're all for information. Okay. And move on to the minutes of committees. Council Priorities Committee of H1. Councillor Long moves receipt. Councillor Qualley seconds it. Discussion on those minutes. Seeing none, I'll call the question. Oh, sorry. Okay. Didn't see her. No, there you are. Councillor Richter.
Yeah, with regards to the statistic, 22% of households in the township are paying 30% or more of before tax household income on housing. What was the source of this information, and did we verify it?
Mr. Seffi, I don't know if you have that information at your fingertips, but if not.
Your Worship, I do not, but I can guess that the information would be based on census release, the last batch of census release, but that's just a guess.
Okay, well, if staff could let us know where the source of that information, because I'm wondering if it's maybe a little low, but if it's based on census, it's based on census.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Long.
Thanks, Your Worship. And I was going to say that was a great presentation, and I was asking, I would be asking now if staff could capsulate that maybe in some kind of a either a report or a slideshow or a PDF or something, because there were a lot of statistics in there, and it was a very good session. It went by rather quickly, and we did hear it, but there were some members of council not here. But those kinds of numbers too, you like to have in your pocket. So I don't think there was anything physically given out to council, but perhaps in accepting these minutes, we could have staff to encapsulate what was presented and send it to us.
Thank you. So, Mr. Backen, there was a presentation. Could the presentation just be distributed to? Oh, we have the PowerPoint? Mm-hmm. So we already have it. Yeah, so we have it. So maybe, Councilor Long, we'll just show you where it is.
Oh, just show me where it is.
Yeah, but it's already out there. Thanks. Okay, so now I'll call the question on H1. Carries unanimously. And is there any other business? Councillor Arneson, do you want to push your button? Yeah. Thank you. Councillor Davis was first on the button. Aha. Councillor Davis.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Other business? No, don't be sorry.
Is this the time that we can the E1, the delegation from Margaret Kent, can we refer to staff so that we can give her all the information that we have to follow with our noise bylaw? Can we do that, or because there was some concerns here and she didn't know if?
Yeah, sure. So, motion to refer the delegation's concerns to staff.
Yeah. Okay.
And second by Councillor Qualley. Okay. I'm going to clear the queue and discussion on that. I'm going to call the question. Okay, it carries unanimously. Okay, Councillor Arneson, if you just push your button again, I'll get you.
Okay, same thing.
Oh, same? Okay. Is there any other business? If not, a motion to terminate?
Termination.
Councillor Davis moves and Councillor Long seconds. All those in favor? Show of hands. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. That's the shortest meeting I've done in a long time.